thank you very much for being here. This is the Quebec premiere of Eufrosina Revolution, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you very much to Ezra and Svetla for inviting me here. And well, I speak Spanish, but I kind of speak English as well, so I hope that I can have like a Q&A afterwards. So thank you very much for being here.
Yo salí porque quise cambiar mi destino, no quise el destino que vivía o que vive todas las mujeres en el pueblo. Porque es bien fuerte vivir en un lugar en donde no sabes a qué horas van a llegar y te van a pedir, ¿no? Y te vas a casar. Ahorita las muchachas de mi edad ya tienen de a 4, de a 5 niños. Yo dije, no, o sea, yo quiero algo diferente. Oaxaca tiene 570 municipios, 418 se rigen por el sistema de usos y costumbres. En casi 100 de ellas la palabra mujer no existe en los catálogos de las comunidades, ¿no?
Yeah, well, it's a very complicated thing, because I think there's things about, well, they call uses and customs that are very good, because they're letting these communities to use the power as they like to. So they have their representatives. There's people like working for the community, and that's a duty, and you have to fulfill it, and that's good, because it's the same people from the community that work for the community and can decide what they want to do, how are they going to spend the money, who's going to do what. So that's a very good thing, so you can get organized. But the bad thing about it, of course, is, and it happens everywhere, is that there's like 2 or 3 people like making all the choices. So if they decide that they don't want like women inside, so they don't let her. But there's a very good thing about like prevailing their customs and the way of dressing, and so the culture can be held, which is a very good thing. And there's a very good like community work that works. You know, that people are working for the community, so they divide their duties. Like, you go and take care of the animals of the community, you go and be a gardener, and that works like very well. So I can say that's a very good thing about uses and customs. So, and it's very important to say that it's not that all uses and customs are wrong, because that's not true. Some of them are not very good, as you can see, but I think it's a question of not like putting everything in the garbage, but saying there's some things that need to be discussed, and we have to make these use and custom better, but not like to put them away, because there's a very big fight from the right party to put like everything away, say, yeah, you see, these people, they don't know how to deal with themselves, so we have to put this away, and that's like very dangerous. Well, I think it was very well received. It shows it in a lot of cities and different festivals, and to different like audience as well. I think that what Eufrosina has, she's very inspiring, as you can see. So I like a lot that in a lot of screenings, people were, now we know that we can do something. They show us that if actually we can put like a little bit of strength or something, we can change things, because now Mexico now is going like through very rough period. There's a lot of violence and corruption, and there is this feeling that there's nothing to be done, there's no heroes, you know, everything is bad, everybody's corrupted. So to see a woman that, with all, of course, with all her flaws and difficulties, but she's doing something to change what she thinks is wrong. So I think it's giving like some inspiration to people. I think that's very valuable, and I like that. In the other way, we won like a lot of prizes, which is very good. I mean, I'm really happy. But I think it's interesting that it's going to very different communities, to festival, but small screenings, to NGOs as well, and we're gonna have like a theatrical release on December, so I think it's gonna go like to a broader audience as well, so that's good. Well, I think she didn't realize what she had, and I think she said that she didn't realize what she was getting into until that moment. It was very shocking because, I mean, I spent time with her for 2 years. Of course, not all the time, but you know, in some periods, I was kind of close to her. And in that moment that we went with her and she was like taking, you know, power. And at night we went to her house because I needed to know what was happening with her. I know she was really frightened, no. And she was really totally like out of herself, you know, she was really scared. And it was like very shocking after seeing her with so much power, just to see her at her house, like all alone, only with us, really like crying and being like really weak because she didn't realize what she was getting to at all. So that was like super strong, you know, like to realize that somebody goes like so far. I didn't realize what she's getting to and everything that implies, but you know, it's normal, she's human. And what I like about her, that like somebody pointed to me, I didn't realize it, like so Cleva said, it's so amazing that a politician, because now she's a politician, have like the strength to say that she's scared, that she have doubts, that she doesn't know like what she's doing. So I think that's very like vulnerable and nice, you know, in a nice way, that all the politicians should say that they don't know what they're doing. They're going to try to do their best, but they don't know what they're doing. They're trying, but you know, it's very complicated. And I think that getting into politics is very dirty business, you know. And she didn't realize it, I think, to that moment that she sat with us and she told us, you know, what I'm doing, I'm gonna get, you know, it's just that moment, like just before to jump, that you know you're gonna like jump and fall. It's exactly that moment. So I think it was very important to the film to show that, all this vulnerability of her. Well, it took me like 2 years to film, then 1 year and a half to post-produce. So it was like 3 years and a half, like totally. And it wasn't like very hard to find the money. I started like filming with my own funding. Me and my husband, we went to, you know, I met her, and like 2 weeks later, we got to this town that you saw with, like where their family was, and we started like filming without like knowing what was going to happen. Of course, we just felt there was like something very powerful there, so we started. Then we could like put something together like to show, and we got some funding, and then like a bigger funding, so things got like bigger and bigger and bigger. So we have like a bigger crew, and things started like unfolding. We never knew that she was going to get there, of course. So we just kind of knew that there was something that could happen, you know? And it was very complicated. One of the things that it was very complicated, she was like all the time like moving from one place to the other, and it was very hard to follow. You know, like someday she was in Mexico City, and the other she was in Oaxaca, and the other she was in some community, so it was very hard to follow her. And we didn't know where she was all the time, so but I mean, she was working, so it's not that she was like a bad person or something. She was working and doing like a lot of things. The other thing is that that community is like 6 hours from Oaxaca, and we live in Mexico City, so we have to fly to Mexico City and then go to the community. There's like 6 hours in a very horrible road that you saw there. It was like full of curves, so it was very hard to get there. But I think one of the most complicated things is to find what was the story that it was interesting to follow, because it wasn't only her, this very powerful woman, but what I wanted to say, what it means to get involved into politics with all the doubts, all this kind of road that she follows, that was very hard to build. I think that the editing part was very, very, very difficult for me because I had to find that, well, it was like a social fighter, but she decided to go into politics. And in the end, it's not like a very successful story because you have to lose your soul a little bit about that. So I wanted that the film touch a little bit that issue, so it was a little bit hard to to put together. And the other thing that I was telling is better that in the meantime I made this movie, I had a daughter in the same time, so it was very complicated. I mean, I always say that I had like a double delivery because I had a movie and a baby at the same time, so that was hard. Maybe one thing is not like so clear for the people that are not from Mexico, but like the party she ended up with is like the right-wing party, which is kind of not very nice, of course. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen, but you understand that, of course, it could be like the kind of people that will look for her because what they need is like an indigenous woman, with all that power is what they lack of. Like the left-wing party, they don't need an indigenous woman. They need like a business person that they can, So of course that was like very hard. But she told me, these are the people that are coming close to me. It's my opportunity to make things for my community. I know they're using me, but I'm using them as well. She was very clear about that. Of course, she got a really bad time after she took power, and 6 months later I saw her. She was full of white hair. And she was having a really, really bad time because imagine her like an indigenous woman who's young, is not like not experienced at all, and she had to deal with all these wolves, as she said. Of course, they make a really, really, really bad time. She had to fight a lot, but she succeeds. She's a very strong woman. Now she's trying to do things. There's a lot of things against her, but I think she's trying. She's trying hard, and. Well, now she had a baby now, and she's getting like a lot of power. She used to be like a local congresswoman. Now she's a national congresswoman. She had a lot of power, But she's really trying, That's all I can say. It's really horrible that she's in the right-wing party. I mean, for me, it was a very hard thing to deal with. But I think it's good, that inside, like the right-wing party, there's somebody with like Eufrosina. And in the other hand, if you see the PRI, which is the other party that is in power now, and the PAN, and even the PRD, that is the West, the other party, they're not very different now. It's horrible, but that's, they're very much the same, so. Well, I think that one thing that she succeeded is that now there's a law that says that all the women have the right to vote in Oaxaca. That means that if there's a problem like it was before, there's something with the law that you can go and sue the people. So that's great. That's a big, big thing that she succeeded. Now there's this big movement in the government against poverty, right? So they're doing this program, they're going to communities because they want to fight poverty. Of course, that's bullshit, I have to say. And she is especially going against that program because she knows it's bullshit. So she's having a personal fight with the person that put that program. So that's the thing. I say, well, maybe, yeah, she's doing something about it. And it's in the news. You can say, Eufrosina is fighting this woman, telling that what she's doing is lies, and there's no way that they can live with poverty that way. So she's trying, as I say, to do small things, Of course, all the political system is super tough. It's really hard to make changes. But I think that she's making at least some small changes, Now she's part of, there's a commission for indigenous issues, and she's like the head of it. So that's a good thing, you know. I think it's a very big fight against it, but I'm very happy that she's standing against that program, for example, you know, and it's one of the few persons that is doing that. Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, I think that the movie's been showing like in a lot of places. All the Mexican festivals have been there. It was there's this prizes called the Ariel, that is like the Mexican Oscar. Well, it was part of in the competition, which was great. And now we're going to be in theatrical release the first week of December, and then we're planning to go to TV. I think the TV is going to be hard because now the PRI, which is the party that she's against of, is in power back. So one place that they're controlling is TV. So they told me it's going to be very hard to be in TV. It's been in cinemas, in festivals, everywhere, but TV is going to be hard, I think. Yeah, well, I met her because a friend of mine who was a journalist, she introduced me to her because she wanted to do some news about her, and she told me, you must do a film about her, she's super interesting. And at first, as I was telling, I didn't know what was going to happen with her. I just thought it was a very interesting character in a very interesting context, and something was going to happen. I didn't know what, but I think that was like a good hunch that I have. Thank God I just realized that something good was going to happen there. I never realized that she was going to end up there. You know, it was a big surprise. But I think that she was like very open to me. Always, she was telling me all the truth. And I told her too. You know, like you have to be careful about getting there. We were all the time like discussing where it was like beyond a relationship of character and director. I think we got like a close relationship. Even when she accepted this charge as a congresswoman, she asked us, you know, my husband, and she said, what shall I do? Do I have to say yes or not? And it was like really hard to tell her, you're gonna get like with the devil, you know, what are you doing? But we discussed it a lot, so that was very good. I think we had a very good relationship with her. Of course, it was hard to tell her because she didn't know at all, as she said, what was like right wing or left wing. She didn't have, she didn't understand very well. So imagine that was just 1 week before she got into a congresswoman. So I say, this is going to be a disaster. You know, she doesn't have a clue what she's. So we tried to explain her, no, this person, you know, how to be careful. This person, they say all this, but it's not true, and this other person. So we have to give her a little bit like political classes because. So I think it was a very nice relationship, and still today we keep like being friends, which I think is very good. I don't know if I answered all your questions yet. Yeah, actually that's part of a government program, and I mean it happens. You sign for that, and they give you a house. The thing when it doesn't happen is because people they don't have they don't know that this exists, you know. So she was a little bit like the link to say, you know, this exists, so they help them to get it, you know. And yeah, I mean the things exist there. Of course, there's some things that I'm not so happy about that. You know, is this kind of communities where they have very kind of like earth materials, and that's very nice. And the materials that they have now, they're not so nice. So it's not that they're not good, but it's not part of the community, you know. So I have to say I'm not very happy with that. But yeah, I mean now they do have houses, and that did happen. Yeah. And thank you very much. Well, she's not a senator. She's a congresswoman. It's a little bit, but yeah, okay. But yeah, I think she tries. She she goes a lot there because all the family lives there, and she's trying to make things, and she actually started building like a better road for all this area, which is great. I mean, she's doing things. Of course, she's not as committed as she was with Kiego, for example. There's people that are working like in the same way that she was working that is there, but of course, that's what happened when you get into politics. All the things more like, you know, one-to-one person that you used to do, they're lost. So that's, I always say, it's not like a big success story because it's a part that you have to leave behind, and that is very important. So as I say, I think she's trying to do like her best, but of course there are things that she lost.